Beautiful. Oh, hello, Crystal. How are you?
Hi, how are you? we went
Good.
we went live before you were ready for live.
I thought I was ready for live, but I wasn't. I wasn't. I do think I
I
like this shirt. I think it makes me look thinner.
okay. We always have to have things that make us look thinner.
How are you doing?
I am good. I don't know. I feel pretty rushed today.
Mm,
It's been a bit from this morning. Calls have been coming in, and then I've had some schedules, and they got pushed back, which then pushed
mm,
everything else back, and
yeah.
so it's been. How about that? It's just been.
Yes. Well, it's good that you're not bored.
I am never bored in a.
I don't
If
suppose
I'm
you.
woke, I'm not bored. I don't even think I'm bored in my sleep.
I can just imagine. Well, we have an interesting topic today. That is, why do women have less retirement savings than men? And
Mm,
I think this is an amazing topic for us to talk about, and it touches on so many things. And I know the big one is going to be childbirth, but that is the child care. Let's call it that, not childbirth.
mm, mhm, mhm.
Um, so without trying to offend as few people as possible. How if I put it that way? Um, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. So with that, how about if I read your bio and then we can just jump right in?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Please help me welcome my friend and colleague to our show, Crystal Mitchell. She is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co director of Recycling Black Dollars. She's a co host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, another weekly online radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm good. Of course, I am Javon Thomas. I'm a retirement plan advisor. That is, I help clients rather with their company-sponsored retirement plans. Clients include business owners and folks who work for that business or that organization. Let's jump in. Why do women
Okay.
have less retirement savings than men? And I'm just going to read this to you. I stole this from an article online, or parts of it from an article online. I had to add my little bit
Okay.
there. On average, women in the US live 5 years longer than men, but men have 30% more in savings when they retire. So that is to say, age 65 hits, we're about ready to quit the workforce. In general, men have dramatically more assets and savings than men. And this savings gap can be attributed, and I love this part, this is the big deal right here, attributed in part to short term thinking and a lack of financial resources. So that's a little harsh.
And I think also what should be included in that is even if a woman has the same title as her male counterpart, she's making a significant difference in income.
Mhm. Totally support that. Not support that. Totally agree with that. Agree with that. Not supporting, just agree.
Okay.
Woo! See, I'm already getting into trouble. Totally agree with that. Um, I would also say that, according to this article, that it happens across all ethnicities. That is to say
Mhm.
that in every category, women are coming into retirement or going into retirement significantly less well prepared than their male counterparts with regard to assets. So, what is the deal? Why, of course, do you think it's happening? And this is going to, I don't know, it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did.
It did.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a topic that I talk about frequently, obviously, because I'm a woman.
Yeah, I had to
but
know.
in but in business as well, there's some significance here. Women get less loans than men.
Mhm.
Um, women get, in fact, in the venture capital world, women probably get 1% of any venture capital that's out there.
1% as opposed to
1%.
99%?
Uh-huh.
1%? Oh my goodness.
It's
There's got to
significant.
be quite a few factors there. One of them having being there are not that many women applying for
Mm-mm,
that capital. No, that's not
mm-mm.
the deal.
That's
Okay.
not it. I think the issue is that one, they think that I don't know. If it's some of what I see that little statement in there about maternity. Um,
Mhm.
that women men can work if they chose to 150 hours a week, but they know women have other obligations, and
Right.
they're going to take out maternity leave to have children if they're of childbearing ages,
Right.
and they can have some health issues, which they probably, not that they have more or less, they're just going to probably take care of their health issues, which may could talk about them, speak on them having to leave work for doctor's appointments and things like that. And then, of
Mhm.
course, they attend events with their children. So I think they that's all incorporated in there. That's all incorporated in that calculation process, I guess you call it. So, but I think it starts with the lack of, if we were to look at a comparative, we were to look at a comparative salary of CEOs, of is less women CEOs, but a comparative schedule of CEO gender by gender,
Mhm.
then you would see a significant difference.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Hmm.
When you take a look at how many of the top 500 companies in this in the S&P 500, let's say, how many of those are um, have women as CEOs? You
Hmm.
take the top, and I'm not saying that the S&P 500 is the top, but let's say that that's 500 large companies, just five big 100 companies. I would say probably less than 20% are women, probably less than 10%. I'm
Hmm.
running off of my memory and things may have changed, but a very, very small number of women actually run large organizations. So, with that in mind, there's that gender gap, savings, having assets in general, right? Lack of financial
Hmm.
resources. However, we can't forget the first part of that attribution, which is short term thinking. And I think that's really one of the bigger deals. And you hit the nail on the head when you were suggesting that that whole childcare thing is tough because, as you and I know, it's conceivable to suggest that women will dip into their savings or take money out of their 401ks to stay afloat while on maternity leave. Right?
Hmm.
They will do that. They will consider that that money is short term money that they need to take care of their children, whereas men don't tend to do that. And we can go into a number of reasons why that happens, but um, we still haven't, as a country, recognized that the job of motherhood, and that's what it is a job. It's a
Hmm.
tough job. It's an important job, and it deserves to have mm, some type of financial recompense. And I'm not saying that they should get paid by the government or whatever, but I am saying that um, the whole thing around bringing children in the world, raising them, is expensive. And if you expect someone with the lesser amount of assets to pay for a major part of that with regard to time and cash, we're going to have disparities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And a lot of times, and there are women that work to send their husbands to school. So their salaries are going toward things like that.
Mhm.
So because what are they doing? They're taking care of their households, right? And
Right.
that means their children and their husband. And so if the husband's salary doesn't cover everything, and we no longer live in a society where the husband takes care of all the household bills and the wife's money may be used for vacation and stuff. Both salaries are required today, and so and because the cost of living the way it is, but a lot of times she's working one for childcare, which is anywhere from 125 a week to 250 a week, and that's also education, and so she's generally paying that. So her little money, whatever she's getting, and she's not getting equivalent to her male counterpart, is going toward that. So she's pretty much probably only putting in the bare minimum to her retirement plan because her dollars have to go further.
Yes, which suggests, in my mind at least, that we have to have a conversation and we have to have some education around how much it costs to save for retirement for people that are with us, right? And and it's for that reason that I say that everyone should have their own retirement account. I don't believe in combining the accounts, right? If you're a woman, you should have your own retirement account, and if you're a man, you should have your own retirement account. Simply because the concept that this is mine and it's my account, and we are going to perhaps put them together for the benefit of the family, but at the end of the day, it's still mine, and I still need to have that mindset of I need to put the money in order to get where I'm going, and I need to start early in order to get where I'm going. Right? I think as we and stop me when I go off the rails because you know I might. As we are looking at a society that that's accepted that women are supposed to be in the workplace, we have to make sure that they have the same access and the same opportunities as men do. And we have to make sure that if they're going to do that, if they're going to make the choice to be in the workplace, then their retirement is on them. Because at the end of the day, when we're taking a look at, okay, your retirement is X, but if you've been giving that up, whereas your male counterparts haven't, then there has to be a day of reckoning there. There has to be some reckoning. And I don't think it's appropriate to say, well, you know, you've got your husband's retirement that you can, it's not an acceptable answer. So the question then becomes, all right, what do we tell women? Because of this next example, the one that I haven't read, I think it bears tons of fruit. This example is, it was given by someone at TIA, and I'm quoting from this article that I read online. It says a woman making $60,000 a year who saves 3%, that's $1,800. Not a whole lot, right? 3%, not going to hurt your paycheck. You probably won't even feel that. Putting a pause in the work and savings for just 2 years, that's time enough to become pregnant and not put money in for the first year. 2 years. It's going to cost her $38,000 in retirement savings by the time she's 65. Now, it doesn't say where she starts, but I can imagine this is before the age of 30. $38,000
before she turns by the time she's 65. Yeah. So, and let me ask this question based upon that and what you said earlier. So when we look at, again, traditionally, and I think this is still the case because, you know, I hear it a lot, you know, women get a percentage of their husband's Social Security. Spouses do. Whether they get, you know, at a time that when they retire. So I wonder if that's some of the strategy thinking, okay, well, she's going to get, you know, what is it, 20% or what is it? 20%?
I have no idea, but it's
whatever that number is 20%. Huh?
It might be half.
Yeah, I think it is half. Yeah, half. They get half of that retirement money on a monthly basis. And so, okay, well, she's already getting hers. she gonna get hers automatically for me anyway. Even if you're no longer married, whoever was the first one, and you put in you were married to him for 10 years, that's your retirement pretty much. And I
Right.
wonder if that has something to do with it. That it's just a given that there's going to be retirement for her, because the husband is going, when he retires, she is a given. If she spent her if she was married to him for 10 years and more, she's going to get her 10%. You think that may have something to do with it?
That might have something to do with the fact that they have less coming into the situation. People are planning.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
what I mean. Yeah, less coming into the situation.
Because theoretically it would be made up by getting part of the husband's Social Security. I would say, from my experience, because I'm not married and I don't have a girlfriend and I have no reason to say one way or the other, but I would say that because of all of that, I would have to disagree. I would say no. I think the issue is they're not thinking about that. I think when couples get married or decide they're going to bring in the children, or the children are here, or they show up, or whatever, however that situation happens, I think most folks are thinking about, how do I take care of right now? Right now I've got an issue, and right now I need to make sure that there is rent covered, that there is the mortgage paid, that the food is there, that the baseball and the football, that everything is there so that we can build a happy life for our family. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think that's perfectly appropriate. However, I got to go back to the top of our conversation, where the article suggested that the attribution is in part short-term thinking and lack of financial resources. And I think the emphasis has to be on short-term thinking. And all I really want to say is that this suggests we need to have a conversation about what our retirement is going to look like. And we need to have that conversation when we're very, very, very young, before we have children, before we get married. The idea of, I'm going to pay for my retirement, is more appropriate than, I need to start a family, I need to do this, I need to do that. Let's not say more appropriate, just as important.
Just as important. I think that's just a series of those questions. What does life look like past 40? Because generally it's just trying to get me to 40, and then I start taking life real serious after 40. What does life look like past 40, and how can I prepare? And I'm going to give you, without giving any names, but here's a scenario for you. Scenario of a person that never really worked themselves. They banked on their husband's retirement, and that was always on the forefront. Just their retirement supporting their lives, period. And so they've relocated from the United States to another country, and the husband just got fed up with the whole situation, and so he is retired, and the wife had control of everything because he was kind of in the military, so she had control. So now she has never paid into the system, or if it is, it's very meager and no retirement, and that's just in the Social Security system, and no retirement at all. And so now the husband has contributed a lot to her world. And so now, pretty much when they went to do the analysis, like, well, you've already paid her all that she was allocated. So that's it. You don't have to do another thing if you don't want to. And so now that the female, the spouse, has, very limited funds for retirement. Well, in a retirement, and it's never worked. So at this point, would be very hard pressed to get a job because don't really have any skill sets.
And she is, I take it, mid to late 50s, early 60s.
65, 66.
She's 66.
Oh, just turning 65. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do
Yeah,
with it?
so those are the things we don't think about, like you just said. We're not thinking about what does that look like at that age. I mean, it might sound like a fantastic strategy at 25, 30, 40. But by the time you get to 50, 65, anything could happen.
It is something, and I certainly don't want to suggest that we want to um, we want to govern our lives with regard to getting married and educated from the point of view of, oh, just in case it doesn't work out. I don't want to
Hmm.
suggest that at all. I
Right.
totally want to suggest that if you find somebody, if you're fortunate enough to find somebody that can put up with you and will take care of you, or and vice versa, or just put up with you,
Just
if
put
you
up
can do
with you.
that, if you can do that, get them, hang on to them, and do whatever you can to make it work. Right? Because we need that as a society. Do that.
Right.
So I do not suggest that you should have a fallback option. What I am suggesting is that independence and being able to take from yourself gives you a place of strength, and it gives you an opportunity to come into that situation of marriage with strength and retirement with strength and with power. That is the deal, right? So coming into the situation with strength and power suggests you get to make your own decisions about what's going to happen. So
Hmm.
if you come in from that position, it's a lot easier for me as a financial advisor to say, okay, here's what you got. This is what you need to do. Coming in from a place of weakness because you were dependent upon someone else when you just didn't have to be, you know, that makes it tough. Even if that person is still alive, even if you're still in the couple, the dependence makes your life difficult.
It does.
A lot of people don't want to accept that. They'd rather have those traditional roles where the man makes the decisions. I don't want to get away from that. I don't want to encourage that or not encourage that. I'm saying if you're a man and you're in a situation where you're making all the decisions, you need to make sure that your wife has a retirement plan and that she's going to be okay so that she can operate from a place of strength when
Hmm.
you are at those retirement ages. This is not a conversation that I only want to have with women. It's a conversation I want to have with men so that they can go into this situation open-eyed, because if they don't, they're going to be back to that one income supporting the two of them. And that's going to be tough. If they think it's tough while they're working, oh my goodness, once they stop working, it's really going to be tough.
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
are just so many greeter jobs out there. I mean, crossing guard, there's just not that many of them out there, right? So, you know,
Well, not enough to probably for the masses. Let's put
right?
it that way.
Yeah.
There was something recently on one of the talk shows, the Tamra, whatever her name is, Tamra show, and there's a movement, and there is called traditional the reentry of traditional wives. And so it was a big movement for a minute. But what has happened is things have started to take place like this, like retirement, like divorce. And these wives, they were young and completely reliant on their spouses. Now they have no credit in their names. They really don't have an established anything. They've never worked. They've never done any of that. That's our parents and our grandparents. There's a reason why that was our grandparents, not necessarily our parents, because in today's world, that's challenging to live on one salary. It really, really is. It
It
puts a
is
lot of
challenging.
pressure on a relationship.
It
And
is
when,
challenging, but I think, I got to stop you there because it's challenging if you want to live like everybody else.
right.
If you're going to have one salary, you've got some decisions to make. And we can say it's tough to live on two salaries. It is. It's tough to live on two salaries if you want to live like those other people on two salaries, or if you want to live like those people that are making lots of money, then it's tough to do that on one salary.
Right.
But, there's a lot of America out there that is trying to live a life of someone on two salaries, but they've only got one.
Right.
And, you got to deal with it. It's a reality. We have to deal with that. It does us no good to say back in the day we used to be able to do that. Well, we're not back in the day.
Right, exactly. We're in today. And then let's talk about what we always talk about with our listeners is things happen after 65 and after you retire. Health issues. Your quality life changes drastically when you retire and you don't have regular income coming in, or regular income like you did, or you become ill. We don't have magic crystal balls that we can foresee this future, and we're living longer.
Yes.
Yes. We're not tapping out at 68. We might still be here at 90.
Yes. Yeah. Especially if you're 60 now, there's a good chance you're going to last till 90, men and women.
Men and women. So
maybe not good, but
right. And in some cases very good, but which is even worse, I think, if you're very good and you have all your capacities, all your mental capacities, and you have no fun. That's worse. In my opinion.
It just might be. It just might be.
So anyway, I'm with you, and where it says that it's opening, helping empower women so that they can make better decisions for themselves, which ultimately, when they make those better decisions, it's going to benefit the whole entire family anyway. The children, the grandchildren, the husband, whatever it is. So it's not really ever just for her, but it does give her a sense of empowerment.
Yes. And, I think that's the most important thing right there. Empowering women, and I just want to paraphrase what you said, empowering women helps the whole family. Mm-hmm. So the discussion that we're having is letting people know this thing is out here. The answer is not changing society and moving it back. The answer is empowering women and making the whole family better and more beneficial. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some other things here. And I think the last line that I have there, good decision making is about looking forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's keep that in mind rather than, oh, I wish it was this, or oh, I'm stuck with this, or oh, let's look at how do we empower women for the betterment of the family.
Right, exactly. Because that bottom line, that's what it is, regardless. Even if she's not married, then the family becomes her primary family. Her brothers and her sisters, or her nieces and nephews, or things like that. So even if she doesn't have her own children or husband, then she's helping out with the family. Because in most women's world, the family is the whole nucleus of a family.
Yeah, which is something I'm also woefully unprepared to talk about.
Yeah. So there you have it, huh? But so she's looking at, but definitely if it's her primary, if it's her children and husband. But even if she's not, you become the anti-MAME. I'm an anti-MAME. So even though I don't have kids, I still have responsibilities for a niece, or at least I have acquired responsibilities.
So that's probably why you're so cool, because anti-MAME was the bomb. That was
man. Yeah, so you become anti-MAME. So you always are you're the auxiliary.
The auxiliary.
You're auxiliary mom.
Very well said.
Yeah, okay. But I like this. I like in especially today, when there appears to be a movement of the significance of women in trying to relegate women back into whatever that place is, their place. But women are a major contribution to society and the economy and the family structure, the church. You look at it from every aspect. Women are valuable, which is why God provided her. uh, so yeah, but she does need to be her own independent. She needs to have her own retirement plan for a retirement because we never know what's going to happen for the
I
future.
think you're right. I think the situation that our economy is in, and it's an exciting time, I think, to be alive in this country. And we've probably had this exciting time well before, but I just wasn't old enough to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
But our society is in a state of change, and um, going into that state of change with your eyes open is dramatically better than being surprised. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are the kind of person that suggests, hey, this is the role that I'm raising this man or this young man or this young woman to fulfill, if that's what you are, then I believe you owe it to them to have that discussion. This
Mm-hmm.
is what I think you're going to have. And if they're going to raise them that way, then you need to prepare them for what that looks like as the world comes to meet them and as they go
Mm-hmm.
out. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you decide that your male child should be the breadwinner and that he should pay for all the bills and yada yada whatever that is, then you need to let him know that's what you're looking at. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at that, it's going to be tough. And so you need to get ready for it. And you need to be strong enough to say, in many situations, it's more important that we're together than that you do this or this or this or this to everybody in your immediate family. If you're going to
Yeah.
take, you can't be doing the Jones thing. Well, we should do this. Da, da, da. You can't get yourself into debt and hope to, you can't do that. And you've got to be very, very smart about what you do with the money that you bring in. And you really need to talk to someone like myself or a financial advisor about what this looks like on your income and how you can face the world. And this idea that it'll just be okay, that's just not going to cut it. And if you're raising a young lady child who's looking to have childbirth, if you're raising her as that is what you do, that is your thing, that's your function, if that's the case, then you really need to have a discussion with her about what her life can look like without having the independence to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to look at it that way. It has to be like that. You don't have the independence to make money. What's your life going to look like?
Right, right. I mean, those are serious conversations. I know when we're young, we're just looking at the the hearts and roses part, right? And it all looks so beautiful and at sitting at that age. But
Yeah,
there's a whole lot more to it
it really is.
as you go along, and those are some serious conversations one
They
needs to
really are.
have.
They really are. I know we have to go here, and I'll let you have the last word. But I wanted to say that I look at YouTube because that is the international news source of truth and justice out there.
Hmm.
But there do tend to be some of these ladies out there that are saying, look, I don't want to be poor, right? I can be poor by myself. And that's something we have to deal with as men. If you can be poor by yourself, right? Or if you decide that you need a certain income, right? Then you need to do what's appropriate for you. And if you decide the other way, where you're expecting someone to take care of you, then you need to be ready for that too. It doesn't always look like wine and roses.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, yeah, exactly. So I like that last. Good decision making is looking forward, and we have to always look forward, and we have to plan for that future, and we have to look at the whole thing. That's even things when people have it's like that end. No one wants to, you always want to plan for the beginning, the new births and the
Yeah.
marriage and the weddings and all of that part. But the other side of that, the retirement, the illness, the death. We let that just happen all by itself. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do
Don't
that,
be that
right?
guy. Don't be
Right, exactly. So guys, I hope that's what you take away from here. Let's not be that guy or that girl or that woman where we are going to let all of this stuff take care of itself and assume that it's going to miraculously take care of itself when we won't have quite all of our faculties and the quickness of flexibility that we have when we're in our youth. So let's use our youth to plan for our future. And you know, like I like to call it, the fourth quarter.
There you go.
The new age.
I could not have said it better than that, Crystal. I'm going to say let's end the show on that comment. I think you
All right.
nailed it. I do. So thank you
Okay.
for being a part of this broadcast. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for making those salient points for women, and especially, I think, for men as well, because
Yeah.
We are all in this together. This is not a women's problem. This is a societal thing that we deal with. So thank you for being so open-minded about it.
Oh, you're welcome.
All righty. That's going to call it for our show. It was great having you folks join us. Thank you, Crystal, for joining me. And we will see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.